Good morning, traders. It's Barry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 8 minutes till 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, April 23rd. So, looking back at yesterday's session, right, we had, basically a bid up and hold in the late afternoon. And then as we look at where we were yesterday, it was basically for the majority of the session between, you know, 437 to 447 was where the Q spent time. And then looking at the cash market, it was really from like 52.10 up to uh, 33.10, which was that position mark for the JPM, right? Is the short puts or the long puts uh, up there. So, and I mentioned this before, when you have positioning, right? A lot of times it'll be resistance. You should expect it to be resistance. And then what happens is you can get over that and then use it as support the next session, which is indeed what happened overnight. And then we'll get more into that in a second. And then for the SPY, you're looking at basically trading from around uh, 518 uh, up to 529.30 or something, right in that area. If we look at structure from yesterday, right, we have basically a split, and really all you need to do is be aware of it, and you can just mark this on your charts. I don't know if we'll get back down there today or in the next few days, right? We're substantially higher than we were when yesterday's session was rotating around. But you really want to pay attention to yesterday afternoon's pullback low, and that's basically leaving excess and A on the Nasdaq and the ES, and it's leaving a split distribution from that first 30 minutes to that pullback low for the Nasdaq, or I'm sorry, for the Dow and the Russell. And that's really the only thing of note structurally wise. Looking at news flow today, there's really not a lot. You got Goolsby speaking, not expecting much out of that. He's a you know economic mobility summit in Philadelphia, and he's going to be on there via satellite. So really, who cares? And then Waller is going to make some opening remarks at the St. Louis Fed uh, and at the Fed listens events. Do you think they really listen? They definitely don't listen to Donald, but that's another story. So we're going to have flash PMI at 9:45. So we have a minor news at 9:45 and 10, but we always have opening range volatility anyways. So you know by the time the initial balance sets at 10:30, we should have a good idea about the flow. There's really nothing left but the crude oil report, and like I said, the crude oil report. If you're playing crude, it should exactly follow the report that come out at 4:30 yesterday afternoon from API. There should be no surprises in it, although it will be a little bit of an algo event. So if you can handicap yesterday's event and know what it would do, if the news um, was bearish, bullish for crude, that's what you got to do. Uh, Not my game. And then we're gonna have Bailey on at 1:15, moderated discussion. So the the discussion could go anywhere, right? That's a little bit more of a risk at 1:15. Most of us are not back from lunch at that point in time, but this will go on for probably at least 30, 45 minutes, I would assume. Then we're going to have the beige book. The beige book hasn't moved the markets in years, but I will let you know that you should be aware of the print because when it does move the markets, it's substantial. So probably going to be another snoozer today, and then that ties up the news for today. Of course, we had Tesla after the bell last night, and then just some piddly earnings coming in. After that, nothing really doing as far as that front. Looking at positioning real quick, right? If we look at the futures, they're up 137 points on the ES right now. The cash market closed at 52.87, so we'd be probably just above 5400. We'd probably be around 5420 would be my guess if we open right now. So you have to assume that that's a pretty large gamma spot for the week. That should be support if we're going to remain bullish. So Not much in the way of a pullback, and then we'll see if we could oscillate around that area as a potential or a possibility there. But 5400 should be support. We can make it, 5450 is really the next little gamma, and then you see 5500. I don't think we can get up to 5500 today, but you never know. The VIX really needs to be dropping, which it has been doing. But if you look at the VIX overnight, I'm not going to bring it up on the chart, but it's basically since 8 o'clock last night, it's just been, you know, hovering and hasn't made it a lower low. So the VIX hasn't been going any lower, and the market's been going higher. So there might be a little bit of a resolve, and that resolve would be to test 5,400, and then to see if you want to go higher, right? On the VIX, which means you would start staying under 5,400. So that's going to be your bogey line for the cash market today. Uh, Looking at SPY, we closed yesterday at 527 quarter. We're trading 540, so we're up, 12 dollars and 75 cents in this overnight range since we've reopened. Uh, and then so trading right now at 541. You can see for today there's a little bit of gamma right there at 540, but there's not any markers above for the week or for today that you can really hang your hat on and say, that's gonna, something we need to watch out for. Um, and then for the Qs closed last night at 445 basically. It was 444.48, so let's just call it 444.50. And then right now we're trading 458.57. So we're approaching this 460. You can see for the week there's a little bit of gamma there at 460 and then at 465. But again, 450 should be your floor, and I would assume there's going to be a little bit of support at 455. So we're in positive gamma right now, which means things could slow down. Potentially, I wouldn't, go take that. I wouldn't take a high flyer on that one, but especially after the last month this 3 weeks that we've had here. Um, but you have to know when you're in positive gamma, it's more mean reversion. It's usually a slower market. Any deeper pullbacks are usually buyable, and so those are your markers. You got the 450 for the Qs. If you're going to remain bullish, you're going to stay above there. You've got for the SPY, 540 is going to be your gamma line, and for the cash market, 5400. So those are your levels to watch if you want to try to buy pullbacks. Getting under those with a rising VIX is probably not a smart idea to step in front of a moving train going down. Uh, so let's look and see where we are. Again, 5430 is the untested point of control. And right now, we would be skipping over this, right? So one thing that you can watch as far as profile technique is if we get a pullback and we can't trade 5430 or we can't trade and hold below it on 30-minute bar open and closes, that's a bullish, very bullish. So I would assume the next test would be somewhere between to the upside would be somewhere between 55.08 and right around. Uh, I don't think we can get there, today, but 5,600. So 55 to 5,600 would be, this wipes out anyone who is long and wrong down here. And keep in mind that I always like to watch these huge candles. The top of this candle from April 9th is 55.20. So I would, as day traders go, you have to have a plan. I would probably only take runners. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if I would do that. I'd probably just be done for the day. If you are riding longs up to 54, 75, I would say that's really which we're getting close to, right? You need a pullback, or you need that VEX just to be dropping. And watch that VEX because, like I said, it hasn't made a new low since 8 o'clock last night, It needs to make some new lows for this bitch to keep going higher. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. And then, or it shouldn't happen, right? It'd be meaning that we're going to have a substantial pullback tomorrow if we keep going up. And maybe we'll hit that halfway back short that Jack was looking at yesterday, that 19,455. I'm sure he'll get into that here in a minute. Uh, but right now we are up in an imbalance. So the balance range right now is 17,700 to 19,372, and you can see that the last time we peaked out was right here on the 14th, a day before taxes were due, and that was at 19,254. So that would be about another, 290 points above where we're currently trading. That you should assume that there's going to be just visual sellers there if we get up there today. And the same with the ES, you're in cash, or I'm sorry, you're in balance from 51.27 half up to 55.59. Let's just call it 55.60. But you have to watch it this last swing high that was also put in on the 14th. That swing high was 54.96 half, so just under 5,500. So that would only be about another, 40 points above where we're currently trading. After, we're up 139. So we'll just have to see. Looking at overnight, 80 points, even though we're up 140 basically, we've only traded 80 of those points because we had a gap when the session opened. And then, like I said, this 55.20, you can clearly see that was the run up and go. And this could be, you always have to think that this potentially is a range. I would expect a little bit of a sweep over this because if they're going to take it all the way up there, they know their stuff. But look, we even have the level 4A sitting up there right at that same spot. So I think you're getting long in the tooth for today. Remember, only 7 days a year do you really substantially get and maintain above a 4A, an S4 or an R4, right? So overnight action, 1955.10, which was a previous split. You can see we stopped 1 point under that. We get the front runners out in full force. I'm just kidding on the Russell here. But, making it way, if you look, structurally, there's really nothing structurally except for you're getting past these level fours. 14,000 or 19,491 is, I wouldn't try to push it past there for this session. Things would have to be really getting out of hand. And there's just as likelihood, keep in mind that we could get, where we open, it could just be nothing but selling. Remember, to make money, right, you can sell it and buy it back lower, and that could just be all that's going to happen today. We could literally sell most of the bell session today and still be a fair amount above yesterday's settlements, which are these pink lines. So you have to, don't get too bulled up uh, when we're this overextended going into the bell as far as chasing. And you can see you can almost draw a small channel on these indexes that started from uh, was at 10 o'clock last night to just now at 8:30, and then see if you could use that as if you want to be an aggressive buyer, you could use that channel. And I'm sure Jack will have some aggressive sequences that he's looking at to help you out. But to be honest with you, I'm more of when we have action like this, I'm more of a sit on my hands kind of guy. And what I like to do is Jack's going to point out some aggressive sequences to the upside more than likely. I like to sit on my hands and see if those can break. And then I like to look for a short after they break, to be honest with you. I'd rather try to ride this down for one trade today at some point after. I'd rather try to, have his sequences he's looking at break and then take one short down. So that's about my game plan. So I might just be sitting on my hands all day today. This is a little bit long in the tooth for me. I hope this helps. I hope you guys are doing well with your trading so far this week. We'll see what Jack's looking at, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.